Hello, everybody, and welcome to Five Things. I am your officially unmuted host, Kyah Green. If you Google my name with a million E's, you get nothing. And that's the fact you get to learn about me today. Welcome to our show. This is the very first inaugural episode of Five Things, where we talk to comedians, specifically Toronto comedians, about what makes them make jokes and hearing the stories behind those jokes. So today we have a very special guest. I will get to her in just a minute. But before we get there, we're going to talk a little bit about what this show is designed to be. So for those of you who don't know, in the improv world, well, if you don't know about improv is like the weird cousin of the family of comedy. They're like, let's say, I was going to say magicians of comedy, but that sounds more insulting than I mean it. So in improv, we make things up as we go. And one of the exercises that we like to do in improv is called Five Things, where we ask someone to name five things, whether it's five fancy hats or five types of dogs or five things you wouldn't want tattooed on your face. And you have to name them off the top of your head without actually, thinking too hard about it. And that's the design of this show, is we're going to ask these brilliant, fantastic, talented comedians things that we hope they pull right off the top of their head without thinking too hard about it. But without any further ado, we are going to talk to our very first guest, whom I am so excited to be talking to today because she is so charming, so talented, constantly looks better than everybody else in the room, probably without even trying. We'll find out. She's an alumni of the Second City main stage, a writer on Baroness Von Sketch, This Hour's 22 Minutes, and The Beaverton. You can catch her on all sorts of shows as an actress as well. She's on Because News, Odd Squad, Gary and His Demons, and get this, so excited about this, most recently became the newest host of the Great Canadian Baking Show. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Please applaud quietly to yourself and your pets for the brilliant, hilarious, and always impeccably dressed Anne Pornel.
Hi!
Yeah, what's up?
Impeccably dressed. I'm so glad I put on a shirt.
Shirt. Honestly, I have never seen you look anything less than better than me. At
well,
all times.
I feel like there are definitely several instances where you have absolutely outdressed me because you also have pretty fantastic style, Kyah.
I have a collection of bow ties, and that's where the line is drawn.
I can't pull off a bow tie, so...
You know what? I would like to see you try, though. How are you doing today, Anne?
I'm doing good. It's a bit of a dreary day, but honestly, the fact that I get to see your charming, lovely face is making it so much sunnier.
Well, right back at you. I agree. How's your, before we get into the fun five things, how has your quarantine been? That's a weird way to phrase that, I guess.
I mean, that's the question that we all have to answer every day, week, month. It's good. It has its downs. It's also got like extreme highs. So for me to sit here and be like, oh, it's really rough is a little bit disingenuous because for, I would say 3 months, it was pretty rough. But then the past is September, even though the world is still falling apart, I had a really wonderful time because I got to go back to work for a little bit. And even though work has changed significantly because of COVID, it was so nice to actually see people's faces and really enjoy people's company and have conversations in real life. And that, I think that was enough to sustain me for the winter.
Oh, that's amazing. While we're on the subject, why don't we talk about it? The thing number one, you're on the Great Canadian Baking Show. Let's talk about that. How was that experience? What was it like? What was it like working with Alan, who is also an amazing, talented comedian? And did you get to eat baked goods?
One, it was probably the best job I've ever had. The filming it, even again, with all of the restrictions that were placed because of COVID and to keep everyone safe, obviously, even with all those restrictions, it was exactly what you would think working on that show would be like. Because when you watch the show, it's so comforting and kind and everyone is nice and everybody's just rooting for everyone else. And that was the exact environment behind the scenes as well. So it being probably the biggest gig I've gotten in my career, it felt like I was very taken care of. The crew and the support staff and production company were just so incredible, and it's going to be a really great season.
Oh,
And
that's
no,
awesome.
didn't really get to eat treats because of COVID, but there are a couple of bites that we did get to have.
Oh, that's so nice. That was going to be my follow-up question, is whether everybody is as nice as they seem on the show, or whether it's like secretly evil. So it comforts me greatly to know it's not secretly evil.
And I want to tell people that, because I feel like with a lot of reality shows and competitive ones, even though this particular show wasn't that competitive, people assume that like, oh, it's fixed, or oh, they know who they want to win from the beginning. Absolutely not. Every single week, it was absolutely the two judges, Bruna Feldhuisen and Kyla Keneally's decision on who would stay and who would unfortunately have to go home. But it wasn't produced, it wasn't written. It was absolutely how you saw what you would see on TV. And I just want to tell people that, because I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's like, it feels like that's so rare in reality TV. And I know it's part of what everybody really loves about watching it, is it's just so gentle.
Yes. And the thing is, like, because there's not really a prize, right? They're not gunning it out for $10,000. It's really just the honor of being named Canada's greatest baker. And because of that, they're not competing with each other. They are absolutely just competing with the elements of baking, because that's hard enough. You don't need to sabotage everyone else when the oven gets too hot. Like, that in itself is a sabotage, and no one's doing anything about it.
Not to mention, I don't know about anybody else, but whenever I like bake or cook when somebody else is watching, I get worse at it just immediately, instantly.
Well, I mean, my job and Alan's job was basically to walk around talking to people at their lowest moments. And even still, they managed to find contestants that were so sweet. And I just felt so bad every single time I would approach them when I know that something just happened. But they were always like, no, we like it when you come over because it gives us a chance to reset and not focus and get too stressed out. And I'm like, you're lying. But it was such a treat, and everyone was so sweet, and I think everyone's really gonna like fall in love with all of the contestants. I certainly did. So
oh, that's awesome. I wish I could ask who you're rooting for, not so.
All of them.
Every time. I am so to watch the show. I think that's going to be fantastic. Or take it back a second just to get like a little bit nostalgic and talk about the beginning of your con.
What was that?
I can't tell what's happening because I think my internet is going down. I have no idea whether you guys can see me or not. So I'm just going to keep talking because why not? That might be entertaining.
There we go. I can hear it now. So hopefully, are we caught up?
Hey, am I back?
I think so.
Hey.
There we go.
That's good.
We're here.
Perfect. Hey, you know what? This is the world we live in now. We slow down. We take breaks.
It really is, though. Like, the amount of planning it takes just to get anything done has like quadrupled. And as soon as there's one thing that goes wrong, you're like, we'll try again tomorrow. That's it. We're
honestly done. Yeah. Are you enjoying the slower pace of things?
Absolutely. It took this for me to realize how burnt out I've been and have been for several years. Because, you know, when you're in the grind, it is nonstop. You don't say no to anything because you're afraid that this will be the last gig you get asked to do. This will be the last set you get asked to do. So there's a lot of pressure to say yes and to do things that you might really enjoy doing, but you're too tired to say no, or that you're too tired that you can't do it fully. And so the past couple of months has been wonderful because it has made me take stock of what I actually want to do and what I perform for. Like, the reason why I perform is to affect people. and I would like to be in the same room as the people that I'm affecting. And the thing with online is you can't quite get that exchange, and like I need that energy. I live off of it. So absolutely, I enjoy the slower pace of life. I enjoy the ability to say no to things, and everyone is like, yeah, man, we get it. Because I don't think we were in a place where people were actually understanding boundaries before.
I think you're right.
Because of the stress and sort of, if I'm doing this for my career, I expect you to do the same. But that's just not how we work. We're all different people, and we all tolerate different things. So
yeah, I think that's absolutely on point. And honestly, I've heard this saying in comedy. Maybe this is a saying, or maybe it's just something that one weird person said to me. But the saying of "you're only as good as your last thing, your last show, your last project" in comedy, and that can be really tough on the mental health.
it's so much pressure to put on yourself, because then it makes you be like, well, then I have to do something next. Otherwise, I've become irrelevant.
Right. Well, I have never at any point considered you irrelevant, because you have been pretty consistently being awesome.
Oh, I'm trying.
But also, I think you went traveling for a couple of months, I remember, and came back, and I was like, oh, no one, like, you are right back into things.
I left the country for 2 months after Second City, and this is not a complaint, and I apologize if it comes off as like, oh my God, and then I got so many jobs after, but that's kind of just the reality of what happened. And those 2 months were not like me sitting on a beach. I mean, I was literally sitting on a beach, but those were also 2 very stressful months, because I was like, I have no more career goals. I've achieved the thing that I wanted to do. What am I supposed to do? And I thought that the 2 months of traveling would be like, okay, this is what you want to do. These are your priorities. No, 2 months is not enough of a break.
No.
And so to get the opportunities after coming back was incredible, and I'm so grateful. But it also led to just this big snowball of, fuck, I was doing 3 jobs at a time, and it was like one started at 7:30 in the morning and then would go until 4, and then I would go to the next one from 4 until 8, and then I would have to do a show, which is the experience of so many of us.
Yeah.
And we don't realize how hard that is on our bodies, on our minds, and on our creativity. Because when you're running on autopilot, you're not creative. You're just banking off of whatever you did earlier that day. There's no time for life to sort of formulate and become something a little bit more meaningful.
Yeah, no, I think that's an excellent point. I mean, I remember you saying, I think when I was a student, I came to see Come What Mayhem, which I loved. You were awesome in that. And I remember you saying something in a Q&A afterwards about how you try and make sure you take a day off every week, because otherwise you have nothing to write about anymore, nothing to make jokes about anymore. So I wanted to ask, like, what do you still do that, first of all? And what do you tend to go to when you're running out of inspiration, or when your well is dry and you have to turn in jokes?
It's so funny, because I've really taken a step back from writing in the past couple of months, I would say about a year. When I finished at the Beaverton last year, I kind of took a break, and honestly, I love it. And I don't know that I want to continue to write. And this whole shutdown and the force of stopping has made me reevaluate, what am I doing because I feel like I have to, versus what am I doing because I want to? And my number one love is performing. It's to be in front of an audience. It's to see the audience. It's to interact with the audience. And as much as I love writing for where it has gotten me, because that's where a lot of the jobs I've gotten have been from, like the writing jobs. And I'm just like, yep, I say yes because you don't want to say no. You want money, you want a job. But this has made me realize, like, as much as socio-political issues and political issues are important to me, I find, because of maybe how inundated we all are, I'm so tired, and I have been very much unable to remove my feelings from the world. And when I'm in that state, I can't comment on it fairly. I can't even begin to be funny about it. I'm only angry. And so this has been a great time because I'm like, yeah, maybe writing isn't exactly what I want to do, which is the scariest thing to say out loud because it removes one source of income from us, right? We're performers, we're comedians. So that means we have to improvise, we have to write, and we got to be funny, and got to be a good performer. Those are really awesome skills that people take for granted. And people don't realize that, like, us improvisers, we're writing all of the time. It's in our brain and it's in the spur of the moment, but it's still writing jokes. Yep. And so that's where my writing now comes in, like, is really when I'm talking to people. Like, the last couple of jobs I've had have been like hosting ones or where I'm talking to people. And that's where my writing and my brain comes in, because I don't think writing is only sitting at a computer, tippity tappity, tippity tappity. It's literally the exchange and seeing that you need to have a narrative, even in a conversation. There's got to be an arc. There has to be a beginning and an end. And you want to try to hit a point in the middle, and then you can be on your merry way. And that's been so beneficial for something like the Great Canadian Baking Show, because that's what interviews are, right? You're expected to go in, get that information, get the hell out so they can do their job. And I really feel like in my brain, I'm like, oh, that's what they want. I don't want to just ask them that. Here's a story that I think might get them there, or it'll set them up so I can ask them and then they can get to the point of their answer. But does that answer the question?
Oh, it absolutely does. I mean, I'd say that is absolutely relevant. And like you were saying, I mean, most jobs, when it comes to writing, in the writer's room, you are just improvising and then someone writes it down and you get to make it funnier. But in improv, you have to go, it has to go straight from your brain out to your audience, right? Mm-hmm. So why that is considered less impressive than writing is a mystery to me.
And it's also so infuriating because in the past year, in the past couple of years, I've been getting a lot of jobs. And I think this is true for a lot of comedians who get either commercial work or little bits and parts in TV and film, is that they'll have a line in the description that says improvisers wanted. And you're just like, that's amazing. But that also tells me you expect me to make your writing better. And when I'm not getting paid to be a writer, I'm not going to write. Mm-hmm. You have to value what I bring across the board. And I think that a lot of improvisers get cheated out of that too, because everyone's like, oh, they'll just make it up on the spot, without realizing, that takes years of practice and training. And it really does. It's a skill that a lot of people don't have. And you know why we know this? Because you're putting in the description you want a strong improviser. So clearly it's an asset that is valuable, but we're not getting paid appropriately for it. So I think that's sort of like on my mind anytime I come into a job of like, hey, this script is pretty good, but they want a little bit more for options. And I think that's fine, but I'm also like, well, are you going to pay? Because those are ideas. Those literally. Thank you, Connor. Acting fees for improv is basically zero. But I think it should be more, because people love to shit on improvisers, saying we make stuff up all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But I'd love to see an actor do what we do. So
yep. I think that's an awesome way of looking at it. And I think that question needs to be asked more often. That's going to bring me to another question that I have, which is honestly, like, there have been discussions lately about whether comedy can fall under the category of arts when it comes to Canadian funding, because of the amount of funding that is necessary right now to keep so many arts businesses alive. What do you think about the way Canada treats comedy when, like, things like Schitt's Creek do so well and yet there's so few resources for it?
I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Schitt's, because I literally just finished binging all of it again.
It's a great
last
show.
week. It's one of the best written shows. The writing is, it is impeccable. It's so funny. And oh my God, Catherine O'Hara. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. And
she can say anything. Can you imagine writing for Catherine O'Hara?
I mean, I can't, because I don't have the vocabulary for Moira's character. Like, I just don't. But
she's a walking thesaurus. It's amazing.
truly, but that's the thing. I'm like, that there's an example of an actor and an improviser who has proven how important and what an asset improv is, because that was her and Eugene Levy's whole come up, right? Like,
Yep.
we all want to shit on improvisers, but like, ha ha ha, some of our greatest comedians and comedic talents literally started improv.
Yep.
But in terms of comedians not getting their fair scratch, we don't, because everyone's got that shithead at the office who thinks he's so fucking funny that they go, oh, you should take a class at the old Second City and then we'll see. But how many of those business people actually go on to make a career? Not a lot. Mostly, no. But like, people just assume that because you can make a joke and you can notice something that other people think is funny, that is automatically something everyone can do. But it's not. The fact is, not everyone on the street is able to write a script like Schitt's Creek, or a sketch like the Baroness von sketch shows, or satire like the Beaverton or 22 Minutes. It's just, I dare you. Like, I would love to see my relatives or my neighbors write the things that any one of my friends has written, because I'll tell you what, they're not that funny once they have to put it down to paper.
Oh man, I'm just going to take a quick moment to hear the claps and snaps of all of the various people watching this at home, because I know there are some.
My heart is racing.
Okay,
there's so much that I see that is like, why is this? Why are people so unwilling to give people their justice in general?
Yep.
I would think that's a problem in greater society, that there is no justice.
Yep.
But this idea that everything has to be hard, or that you have to like come from nothing and give everything to become to find an ounce of success, and you want to like cut down anyone who's getting in your way or anyone who's doing something similar to you. You're like, they're just not as good as me. It's just, give people the credit that they deserve, because why not? It doesn't take away from anyone else for you to acknowledge someone else's greatness. In fact, it just shines you in a better light, because A, it shows you've got good taste. B, you're not a petty little shithead. So give people their fucking dues. You know what I mean? And I mean that with improvisers. I mean that with, the fucking street, the crossing guard on the street who waves to me every morning. You good job, person. Good job, you, for brightening my day.
And who gets to say what art is, right? I mean, like, I've seen a lot of things in my time, but I've seen some Oscar-winning movies I don't remember nearly as well as watching you and Squad Goals do Kitty Cops. So, like, for those of you who don't know of this infamous show, Anne's improv team, Squad Goals did an incredible show one day where they all played kitty cops. There's no further explanation. They just played cat cops.
I think for maybe 5 minutes, I tried to be a good improviser, and then I just gave up because of madness around me. And then I'm like, this is more fun. I don't want to be good. I want to have fun. And that's what I love Squad Goals for. That being said, I'm not saying we're not good.
You're very good.
We're great. And that's why we take the chance and we take the opportunity to be fucking little shitheads sometimes, because we fucking earned it.
But yeah, I mean, the difference between, your average Oscar-winning historical drama and improv show you go see is they both entertain you in different ways. And
they hit a different part of your brain. And it's not to say that a drama is any more or less worthy of praise than a comedy, but that is kind of how it is. And I read a tweet, obviously, because I don't read books anymore because my brain can't take more than a paragraph at a time. Someone said that the reason why dramas are successful and comedies are not is because in drama, we always want to see bad stuff happen. No, what was it? We want to see Well, here we go. I forgot. But it was basically saying that nobody wants to like when we watch things, we like to put ourselves in that main character. So when we're watching a drama, we do see the heroic effort that main character will take in their journey, right? They persevered, they conquered heartbreak, they fought in a war, blah, blah, blah. But in comedies, people are the jokes, and we never want to be the joke. We don't want to be the butt of the joke. We don't want to be laughed at. And that's why people don't really respect comedy as much, because when we put ourselves in a comedic role, we're usually being laughed at in some way. I have highly butchered that, and I apologize to everyone watching, but that's as good as it gets for this brain for month 9 of fucking COVID.
I would say it was phrased beautifully.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think we put more value on the struggle than we do on the joy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Twitter, I would be remiss if I didn't poke you to talk about a little bit your political leanings, because you're very open about your politics on Twitter, on your different socials, and about how you feel about what's going on in the world right now. But you have always tackled politics in your comedy. Do you think that politics is important to comedy and vice versa?
Yeah. Comedy, like all art, can be, not all the time, but it can be reflective of the times. And we live in a time that is seriously a fucking pile of diarrhea set on fire with acid thrown on it. And so that's what I'm taking from, right? That's what I see from the media that I consume, from the people that surround me. That's what we're talking about, because I happen to be friends with and am in a general community of people who care about the well-being of others. And so I would like to use my comedy and my voice to shed light on things that should have light shed on them. You know, like, I haven't always been so vocal and haven't always been so political. And that's just, youth and ignorance and just not realizing how important it is to have a voice. But now that I have any amount of platform, and let's get real, I'm pretty small potatoes, but I act a big game.
Yeah.
But like, why not? We're not long for this world, you guys. Did you know? So in the time that we're here, I don't want to make someone's life who is already difficult more difficult. I would like to be someone who helps, or someone who is trying to help, because to do anything less than that to me is a waste of time. And so if I have any sway from anyone, I'd like to put them in, or like push them in the right direction, or at least like give them a nudge to be like, hey, don't be a fucking loser, please.
Yeah.
Be a nice person.
Yeah.
Okay, well, case in point right there.
This is exactly the political content I'm talking about. Hard-hitting, pull-no-punches content.
I'm just saying that my poos have changed since COVID, okay? Used to be one big poo in the morning, and now it's 3 little poos in the morning. And honestly, I'm a busy woman. I don't have time for 3 little poos.
Somebody needed to speak the truth.
Thank you, Connor.
I'm going to dub that the truth air horn from this show onwards. The truth air horn.
I love it.
Oh man, so good. Yeah, I mean, I've heard sort of different opinions on this, but I think one of the reasons that I think comedy is so effective in delivering this stuff is not only does it make it easier to listen to, but if you laugh at something, that means part of you understands it.
Yes. You don't laugh at a joke you don't understand. You're just like, Clapter, the lovable Clapter.
Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, I felt that way watching Come What Mayhem, which I think might be one of the most political shows that I've seen at Second City anyway, is that you really pulled no punches and tried to really go for it when it came to racism and fat phobia and rape culture and all sorts of things that people normally have difficulty talking about or joking about. And
I kind of learned not fast enough in my career, I think. I learned that for whatever reason, people can tolerate a lot of nonsense from this phase. Like, I can get away with a lot more that someone may or may not, because it's so well put together.
It's terrific phase.
Truth horn, thank you. But
for
whatever reason, people are like, oh, yeah. That's true when I call them a racist. I was actually, that's not true. I was never allowed to use the R word at Second City.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know what? Across the board, every single job that I've worked, people don't want to hear the R word. And I'm like, is it your white guilt showing? But it is. Like, that's what it is. People are uncomfortable with it. But, and I get it. But also, you're not going to take offense if you're not racist. So
everybody's racist.
Yeah. That's what we've learned. And we have to unlearn it.
Exactly.
Hashtag unlearn.
Hashtag
I just think if you're a person who is a little bit more persuasive, whether it be because you're charming or you're pretty or you're both, or why not use that power, right?
And it is a power.
A really good compliment there.
You did. And you know what? I endorse this. My name is Kyah, and I support this compliment. Yes. Thank you, Connor. That's Connor Lowe, our tech. We are running low on time, which is disappointing because I feel like I could talk to you forever. But I wanted to make to end on a happy note. What are things that are making you really happy right now? Like, I know among them would be Kyle Lowry.
Okay, well, first of all, always and forever, Kyle Lowry over everything, number one. But now that basketball is over and there's less content, I am obsessed with K-pop right now. And it's been like that for a couple of, I'd say for 2 or 3 years. But because BTS has like really taken a hold of North American culture, I'm just watching all of the videos and it's taking me back. It's BTS, Connor. Show me a picture of all the ones that I like. BTS. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
It's taking me back to feeling like a teenager watching the Backstreet Boys. And I'm just so like giddy and excited. And because it's K-pop, it's never that risque. It's quite PG.
Right.
So it's just these young, handsome, pretty men dancing. And I think I'm able to discern like 4 or 5 of them. But because they're always changing their hair and the color of their eyes, I'm just like, was that Jimin? I don't know, but
they changed the color of their eyes?
Yeah, with colored contacts. And they're always like, even from scene to scene, they're wearing different hairstyles, different colors of hair and eyes, and different things. And I'm like, honestly, you look like 30 different people, and I would smack all of you. And by smack, I mean
the whole legion of them.
Oh gosh, I don't want the BTS army to come for me. So I'm just gonna say they're sweet, delicate boys who provide so much joy. Like, if you want to feel good about your life, just watch a K-pop video. It's bright, it's poppy, it's got attractive young people. I just wish I could be a K-pop star.
They're basically stylish as hell. I mean, I'd watch it. Thank you.
I mean, I don't think I could. I'm no longer of the age where I can dance like that. But we can try. That's what I'll do for the winter quarantine.
Oh yes, I'm just gonna pitch it. I'm just gonna throw it out here. If this goes somewhere, Squad Goals does Kitty Pop.
Okay. Well, Sarah, I know you're Sarah's here, so let's do it. Let's form our own K-pop group. It's great. I can't wait, and we'll all be the Jimins. I think that's everyone's favorite. That's not true. All of them are popular equally. It's really impressive.
I mean, I don't think we're going to get any more inspirational to end on than we are all the Jimins. So that is where we're going to wrap things up.
That's the only name you know. And I'm like, it's true. It is the only name I know.
Yep. But we all love Jimin.
Yes, we do.
And Pornel, thank you so much for coming to chat with me on this episode. Is there anything you would like to promote or shout out in the meantime, or did I nail it in the opening?
You nailed it in the opening, but it doesn't need to be. There's no such thing as saying it too many times. Donate to Bad Dog Theater. I'm sure the link is in the description. I don't know.
Yep.
Whatever.
It should be in the comments, and if you want to donate, because we are currently operating almost exclusively off donations, so if you like this show, if you like all of our other shows, please do go and check it out and donate. You can donate to this show at baddogtheater.com/5things. Also, please check out all the other shows on Bad Dog Theater or Bad Dog TV. There we go. Nailed it. Other wonderful shows like The Oval, D&D Live, Puppet Chats. There's just a whole ream of them, and we have some really awesome new ones coming up, including Theater Sports. So please do check all of that out. Thank you so much to Connor, who is our tech today, bringing up all these very, very wonderful Googles. Please do check out Anne Pornel's Twitter, because it is absolutely delightful.
Pretty angry.
I mean, that's what I find delightful, but perhaps that's just me.
There we go.
Yeah, so thanks again to everybody watching today. And our theme song was done by Andrew Huang, who is a new YouTuber. You can check him out as well. Other than that, we're going to call it a day, but please do check this show out. We're here every Thursday at 4 p.m. for the next 6 weeks or so. So come back and we'll talk to more people. Bye.